Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Health in Your Hands. I'm Dr. David Ajibade with the Brain and Body Foundation, and I want to say thank you for your patronage, for tuning in, for sending in your questions, and for just keeping engaged in this whole process. And I hope you are staying safe and making the right decisions about your health. So, as you probably know, I've been in the US now for going on a year now. And a lot of the things that we're beginning to learn from COVID-19, the ups and downs, the misinformation here and there. But there are some things that just seem to be constant. And this is one of the things I really want to share to you as Nigerians and as Black people. And I'm going to start with this short vignette or story that I heard from two pulmonologists. Now, pulmonologists are the doctors who take care of the lungs, the respiratory system, which of course is what the COVID-19 virus attacks from the respiratory system to the rest of the body, but it attacks the respiratory system. And so what I remember, one of them was Abdul Badamasi. Remember, he was on the show a couple of times. And he said when he walked into the ICU, intensive care unit, could take a look and he always had an idea, even before he walks in, what the scenario looked like. It was always men, probably by 10 to 1, almost always men. They were almost always overweight, and they were almost always Black or brown, more Black or brown than white people. And I thought that was interesting. Well, to me, of course, you can be thinking, you can imagine where my head was going. Then a few months ago, after a month, maybe a few weeks ago, I'm at a dinner or at a picnic. I meet another pulmonologist. And without being prompted, she says something very similar, except for two things. One, and she's in a predominantly white neighborhood. That's where she practices. One of the things she says is that most of the people she's seen in the ICU now are unvaccinated, but they are also younger, but they're still overweight. They still have Black or brown, more than whites. In fact, it was like 8 to 2 or 9 to 1 in terms of what she saw. Again, in a predominantly white neighborhood where most of the patients are white. So again, that sparked my thinking, and I felt it was important for us to start talking about this again. If you remember, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was shouting about how Blacks die first. I did an entire session on that, how Blacks or why Blacks die first. And I talked about things like vitamin D and how we are more susceptible to having problems like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and a lot of that is pointing to not only vitamin D, but vitamin D is a key part, because what vitamin D does is that it helps to make the cells and the tissues work better. It is one of those underlying factors that make the body work well. Once you're deficient in it, your body, your cells, your tissues simply won't work as well. Now, in the US, everybody's saying, oh, it's racism, it's discrimination, and doctors don't pay as much attention to Black people as they do to white people. And that is certainly a factor. But you cannot and you should not ignore this other factor of vitamin D deficiency. Because in places like Nigeria, racism is not that much of a factor. Yes, wealth could be a factor, but racism is not, because we're all Black. So it's important. I really want to beg and appeal to you, really, to say, listen, if you can't check your vitamin D levels, I know it's 25,000 naira, but at least you can check. You can go to the store for a bottle like 5,000 or less. You can get your vitamin D for a whole month. And I know it's expensive for some of you, and we're hoping to get lower. And I think in our center, you can actually get it for some good rates. It's important that you take your health into your hands. Take your health in your hands. Take your health in your hands. Diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease. Many of us aren't serious enough about using our medications like we should. Once you're diagnosed as hypertension, as hypertensive, once you're diagnosed as having diabetes, you owe it to yourself and to your family to take control of your health. Going back to COVID-19, what we know, I mean, from that story, those two examples I shared, what we know is that COVID-19 sparks off, it triggers off. It's almost like you're in a forest, right? Let's look at two different forests, two different kind of forests. One forest is wet, lush green, there are rivers passing through, it rains all the time. So the trees are green and grass is growing. Compare that with a very dry forest where it hasn't rained for a while, the rivers are dry. If you light a match, you make a fire there, in the second example, that fire is more likely to spread. You heard about the wildfires of Australia and in the western part of the United States, there are wildfires going on. They are more likely to spread when it's hot and dry, as opposed to when it's wet and lush and it's always raining and it's cool. It's similar to what happens in the body of we human beings. Remember, we did a show, I think we did a 2 or 3 on inflammation or your inflammability, the tendency, and I'm going to connect that with what I said about the forests, the tendency of your body to catch fire or to become inflamed is what is a key factor in whether or not you're going to have a severe form of COVID-19. I believe that most everybody is going to have COVID-19. I'm pretty sure I've had it because I did all right things. My body is super duper working well. Don't really have many symptoms. I had maybe a sore throat or something, but that's not the point. The point is this: everybody's going to have COVID-19, and everybody should be aware that your state, the level of inflammation in your body, is what's going to determine how bad the symptoms will be, whether you live, whether you die, how severe it is, whether you have COVID-19 long haul, where your brain is foggy, all those things that happen as a result of COVID-19 really happen as to the state of your body before you got infected. So I want to appeal to you again. We may not be able to go to the doctor and say, "Doctor, check how inflamed my body is," but you can tell from the clues. What are you eating? Are you sleeping well? Are you stressed out at work? Are you eating the right kind of foods? Are you taking a lot of alcohol? Are you smoking? The same basic principles. Are you taking your medications like you should? Those are the basic principles. Are you taking vitamin D? That's a category on its own. Are you taking vitamin C? That's a category on its own. Those are the things that will help to tamper down, make the forest, if you will, wetter and less dry, and help, and therefore, and bringing it back to the human body, that's what's going to help to control your immune system. You see, a lot of the things that happen when people get very severe forms of COVID-19 is that their bodies just go haywire, their immune systems go haywire. It's like the COVID-19 virus triggers the immune system to do crazy things. And then the immune system starts attacking cells, your tissues, and your bodies. And then, of course, attack the lungs. And that's why many people die from lung failure. But again, it starts with the state of health of your body before you got infected. So it is crucial that you pay attention to the state of health, to your current state of health. If you can't do the tests, start doing the right things. And in the next, when we come back from this break, we're going to be talking about some of the things, the foods that you can eat, that you can take. That'll be very helpful. All right, so God bless. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We are talking about how to, shall we say, create a circle of defense or a ring of fire around you, so that I'm using the word inflammation before, so probably let's forget about the word fire. Creating a circle of defense around you and your body and around your family. And so again, these are the tips. COVID-19 is here to stay. Let's not kid ourselves. If you've been fortunate enough to get the vaccine in Nigeria, good for you. But that is not the only thing that's going to protect you. Remember, COVID-19 is here to stay, but it is not the only virus out there. So I think this is an opportunity for us doctors and other healthcare professionals to really double down on teaching people about good healthcare principles, because it's those who are vulnerable, the sickly, the elderly, the overweight, they're the ones who are getting it worse. In fact, the CDC statistics, from what I've heard, the CDC statistics, the Centers for Disease Control in the US, the 650 something thousand people who have died as a result of COVID-19, only 5%, 5%, only 5%, are you listening to me? Only 5% did not have any condition, diabetes, hypertension, overweight, elderly. Those were those who are considered sick. And even I question that. I really question that, because if you are healthy enough, I don't care, maybe you might be saying you're exercising and all that, it still doesn't matter. If your body isn't getting the right nutrients and the right tools to protect and defend itself, it don't matter. I don't care if you're running a marathon every single day. In fact, that may even predispose to more problems with inflammation. So the bottom line is that your body should be having the right tools and nutrients to do what it needs to do to protect itself. Exercise alone is not going to do it. I'm not going to exercise, but it is not the be all end all. The right nutrients. I like this quote. It says this: it is not what you're eating that is killing you. It's what you are not eating. And I want to segue into that, because, like I said before the break, I said we're going to talk about some of the things you need to eat. I mentioned vitamin D. I mentioned vitamin C. I should mention zinc. Zinc is one of the things they use to treat patients who have COVID-19. Probably need about 50, excuse me, need about 50 milligrams a day in divided doses. Don't take everything at once, maybe 25. In terms of foods, I really want to double in on this. I found this out. One of the key, probably most important foods you can put in your body is, no, not pounded yam. No, it's sweet potato. And I know you hear the word sweet anything. No. Sweet potato, believe it or not, folks, is probably one of the healthiest foods, and also one of the cheapest things that you can effectively use and put in your body and get healthy. I remember when I started getting it was like 500 naira for a basket. It'll last me like a week or so, and I'll just cook it. It's healthy. It has a lot of fiber. We'll talk about that in a minute. It also has a lot of vitamin C and a lot of nutrients. I tell you, some of the times I'll take it at night, and the next morning I'll feel so good. I believe that's one of the clues to know whether a food is healthy or not. If you eat it late at night and the next morning you wake up and you're feeling sharp and alert and vibrant, that's a good sign. There's a good chance that our food is healthy. So sweet potato, please cook it. You don't want to fry it. You want to avoid fried foods as much as you possibly can. As I said, you want to avoid alcohol, especially at night. I know you have to go to the garden, but temper it down. But here's a clue. If you're going to drink alcohol at night, I would strongly suggest you take something like a fiber supplement as well. So you go at night, you go to fiber. I'm not going to show you the name of this, but anyway, you can see this is what I take most every night. And it looks like Gary. You see, it's like Gary flakes. It also rises and smells like Gary. This is probably another one of the best things you can put in your body. Why? Because one, it helps you cleanse and push out as much of the stool. We have a lot of toxins and bad stuff in our gut that is just sitting there, sitting there. They say about some people have eight meals from the past still sitting in their food, in their gut, that hasn't been pushed out. So fiber helps you push things out. It also helps to feed the good bacteria. It also helps the immune system. And remember, 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our gut. So if you put anything in your gut that helps the immune system, you know you're in good shape. And I think that's if I may say this, I think that's something that is lacking in our teaching as medical doctors and medical and healthcare professionals. The gut is so important. And everybody talks about it, boosting the immune system and doing this and doing that. And yet they neglect to talk about the importance of keeping your gut healthy. And fiber is one of the most important things that can do that. Another thing fiber does is that it feeds the good bacteria. There's some good bacteria in our bodies. Remember, we did some talks on probiotics. There's some good bacteria called probiotics, and they help to influence the immune system for the better. They also help to strengthen and improve brain function, even cardiovascular function. They do a lot of things. So if the good bacteria are healthy, you can be sure you're going to be healthy. So that's another thing. I think that's a gap, like I said, that we need to be teaching people to take care of your gut. Another food, and I'm going to strongly encourage you to consider adding to your diet if you can afford it, are eggs. Yes, eggs. Cholesterol, no. I need you to go back into the research. They've come around. The egg is probably the most complete food on the planet. It has carbohydrates, it has fats, yes, it has cholesterol, but it also has some of the best proteins in the body, in the world. The more muscle you have, the healthier you will be almost as a rule. Why? Because muscles are the reservoirs of the repositories of protein. Your body uses protein to boost its immune system. Your body uses protein to fix problems, to rebuild the skin, to rebuild damaged arteries, to rebuild collagen, rebuild the heart. So if you have enough protein, the body's going to function better. So those who are malnourished obviously don't have enough protein. So protein helps with the immune system. The eggs provide enough protein, enough good fats. We still need good fats, folks. Don't run away from fats. That's an archaic idea now. But fat is much more important than carbohydrates, believe it or not. Some people survive on everything minus carbohydrates. They take carbohydrates out of their diet completely, and they are much healthier. So you want to watch out for if you're going to choose between fats, as in healthy fats, but there's healthy fats. For processed foods are different kind, but there's some healthy fats that can really, really be helpful. Another thing, cucumbers. Cucumbers are really good, again, for fiber and for just general overall health. I'm choosing things that are available or should be widely available in Nigeria. I could have been talking about blueberries or elderberries or raspberries and all those things, but you and I know that that's being unrealistic. Most people just don't have access to that on a daily basis. So let's stick with what we know. Peppers, green peppers, red peppers, tomatoes. Make sure you have as much of that in the raw form as possible. Spinach, ewedu. In fact, I've heard that ewedu people can even take ewedu the raw form. They make sure you clean them first, but the healthier they are, the cleaner those the raw fruits and vegetables are the best. I tend not to focus too much on fruits because fruits have a lot of sugar in them. It's healthier sugar than what is in processed foods and Coke and Fanta and other things, but it's still something you want to take, you want to be aware of, especially when you're above the age of 40, which I obviously am. I can't tell you the number of things that started happening to me when I turned 40. I was like, what in the world? I thought I could avoid this. I mean, I thought my eyesight started being affected. I mean, I can still read most things. But when it comes to reading the Bible, it's very, very small print, like on the labels of bottles. I got to wear my glasses. So I got some glasses here. Check it out. Let's see. Boy, I look really old. Anyway, as you get to be 40 and above, you're going to start paying attention to your health. You really should have been paying attention to your health much earlier, especially being a Black person. You should have been taking vitamin D and vitamin C much earlier. In fact, if I were the Minister of Health, I would mandate everybody should start taking vitamin D from the age of 20. Yeah. Anyway, you want to drink more water. Again, you want to stay away from, well, I know you can't say stop alcohol, stop beer, whiskey, whatever those things are, but just be aware that these are things that can affect your health, your liver, it can compromise your health. So you should be in a position, if you are in a position to do these things, you want to do extra. You're going to need extra vitamin. You're going to need more vitamin D. You're going to need more vitamin C than an average person. An average person who doesn't smoke or drink. So be sure to start taking and paying attention to these small things that we're talking about. They will make a huge difference. So please, if you have any questions, be sure to send them in. On our website, the videos are being archived. And by the way, the month of September, we're going to be doing a really big drive. We're going to be working with two football players in the US, very rich, very famous. They're very interested in sickle cell disease. So we'll be doing a drive. You'll probably see the video after this or during the break. And so we're trying to we're trying to eradicate the suffering of sickle cell disease. Now, we can't eradicate sickle cell disease. I didn't say that. I said that we can really address the suffering of sickle cell disease, especially in the younger age groups. And that is what our goal is. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, build strength, stay safe. God bless us. See you next week. Bye.